I thought Valve couldn't possibly ship another Deadlock update in 2025 with less than 24 hours to go before the new year. But Yoshi is clearly hard at work at the Valve offices because they've decided to ship another Deadlock balance patch, featuring changes to 4 of your favourite heroes and 1 item rebalance. There's a lot to sink our teeth into. Happy New Year's! Let's get ready for the last episode of Patch Notice this year. They physically can't release another one this time. As always, I'm your host Jacky, and you're watching Patch Notice here on Dead Air. You might hear some fireworks going off outside as the New Year's celebrations for the Netherlands have already started kicking off, as the Dutchies love some explosions. And I'm sure they'll enjoy this patch as there's some Bebop bomb changes. Let's kick it off with Billy though, and you might also notice the nicely themed New Year's hero cards. Shout out to Daisy for the creativity on that one. Going into 2026, those Billy mains are going to have their base bullet damage reduced somewhat, being brought down from 6.79 to a more reasonable 6.3. Billy's gun, Baquette, can really pack a punch as we've seen, and especially after the more recent gun meta and gun buffs, it seems like this patch is trying to identify a few heroes that are a bit too strong and bring them more in line. Of course, the buff update that we received yesterday was more just a collection of buffs for underplayed or potentially heroes that seem a bit weaker in the community's perspectives, with everyone receiving some extra stonks, whereas this one does bring down the bar for quite a few. In a similar vein to the Billy changes, if we swap over to Geist, you can see that her ammo capacity has been reduced by 1, with those base bullets now going down from 10 rounds to play with to just 9, and her bullet fall off on Johann's gift also being nerfed from 58 to 52, meaning that fall-off damage is going to be applying a whole lot quicker and you won't be able to deal as much damage when playing a more gun-oriented Geist builds. Although, to be honest with you, I'd say it's bomb builds on Geist that are the real firepower that she's got to play with right now, so I imagine those will be increasing a bit more into this patch. She can drop out of the scene though, and mcginnis can be put into the 4 focus. Now for mcginnis, it's a collection of nerfs on Medicinal Spectre. They've gone ahead and tone down the actual duration spirit scaling that you're going to be getting from this, alongside reducing some of the beneficial effects you'd get from spirit in terms of increasing how much healing you're getting back by toning that down slightly, quite a large amount as well. You can see these numbers are really dropping off. I know it only looks like a few digits, but in terms of how this is going to accumulate over the course of a game with spirit investment, it's going to be nowhere near as powerful. You can still see though, even from base to just buying boundless spirit, that radius you're getting on Medicinal Spectre is still pretty bloody reasonable. So it's not as if this is going to kneecap the character entirely, it's just going to take away some of that overkill healing that you were getting in the most recent patch from her support focused builds, where you're just tanking your teammates' HP up constantly. The self-sustain was through the roof, so I'm quite glad to see this being kneecapped at least a little bit. More so though, this should encourage players massively to start getting more use out of Heavy Barrage. Her ultimate's going to be doing some crazy damage now, and especially setting up her teammates to win team fights with the potential buffs you're getting here. Spirit scaling goes up by quite a fine margin, alongside that slow on hit as well, with her tier 1 being upped by 10%. Trying to get away from a mcginnis ultimate when she's pounding you with a Heavy Barrage is going to be incredibly uncomfortable now. You duo this with someone that's going to benefit off the back of heroes being slowed, be it an Abrams charging in or a Hayes peppering you with bullets. There's going to be so much more to play with on mcginnis for ult builds, although this will slow down that ridiculous growth of support heavy focus. I think it's a good change, moving mcginnis more so back to relying on the rest of her kit than just being a bit of a heal bot. But talking of robots, let's have a look at Bebop, the legendary scrap golem. Now, we saw in the last patch they went ahead and gave him an extra pipette of stamina to play with, upping that from 2 to 3. People loved that, they enjoyed the speed, but they didn't like how long it was taking for that stamina regeneration CD. With that being upped massively from around 4.5 to 6 seconds, people didn't enjoy it. They brought it back down, that's now a 5.5 second cooldown on it, which is probably a bit more reasonable, but all in all this does mean outright he's getting that increased stamina pipette capacity to play with that we saw last patch, and now having quicker regeneration on the stamina itself off overall. So Bebops are going to be quick, especially when you add on the fact they can self-bomb for the increased movement speed as well. Bomb bops are certainly still going to be powerful. They haven't nerfed it. This isn't one of the heroes that's had anything really gutted from him inside of this patch. It's more of a rebalance in terms of how it's going to be working. You can see the sticky bomb itself has had that base damage increased, going up from 70 to 80, and its tier 2 going up from plus 60 to plus 70. But don't sound the Bebop alarm just yet. It's not as bad as it sounds. They have at least decided to finally add some sort of cap at the point of increasing your stacks. It's not going to hard stop you from building Bebop stacks throughout the whole game. You still can farm them inevitably throughout the entire matchup, but at a certain threshold now, you're going to be only receiving half of the increase per stack. So it's not going to scale as drastically really late into the game. You will plateau somewhat towards the mid to late game portion on Bebop, but bomb builds are still incredibly viable, and as we've seen in the couple days we've had since that initial update, yeah, they are explosive. Moving on though, you can see that everyone is queuing up for the Curiosity Shop to buy one item in particular. Toxic Bullets. I'm sure you've seen everyone's been buying this. Gun mains, even some heroes that don't really need it. I've seen Lashes picking this up all the time. It feels like an item that's just been so good in terms of the anti-heal and the consistent fact that you can build it up very easily. Any type of anti-heal in Deadlock at the minute feels very strong, and Toxic Bullets was at the top of the docket. So Valve have decided to slightly reduce that bleed damage from 2.2% to just 2%, and made the build-up percentage now 10% harder, meaning it's going to be a little bit harder to actually get those dots off and constantly pepper your opponents with those snake bite bullets. That had a very beautiful design there, if you notice the little glasses on their eyes. But hey, that's it. That's everything you needed to know. That's the New Year's update that Valve have dropped, a 7 AM patch that no one saw coming, with a couple of nerfs and a few little tweaks. I hope you enjoy the patch. I hope you're enjoying the content here on Dead Air, and for real this time, we'll see you into 2026. From me and Daisy, thanks so much for watching. If you like the videos, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you into the new year.